For this demo video, I'm going to show you glazing for piece prep, test tiles, and mixing your glaze to get a awesome piece. Just as a friendly reminder, only have about medium level expectation because that means that you will probably be happier with the results. So first of all, grab your piece, make sure that it's a bisquare piece. It should make a tink tink sound when you tap it and be kind of pink colored. I'm going to grab a glaze ticket and just follow the steps. So the first thing I'm going to do for your piece prep is just number one, which is wipe off your piece for any dust. Otherwise you could have crawling and your glaze might not stick there. So to make sure that there's full absorption, make sure that you wipe it off. Don't put it under the sink, just wipe it off with a slightly damp sponge and that should be sufficient enough. And just put it back in the bucket. Next thing I want to do is wax the foot so you have a nice glazed foot, and it goes a lot quicker when you're actually glazing your piece. So this is called wax resist. It's in the green container and the actual material is green. Grab a brush, open it up, try to avoid spilling this, and also try to make sure that you put it exactly where you want it. So I'm going to have it be right where my glaze line is. That's where I want my glaze to stop, so that way I know it won't go onto my kiln shelf. So when I brush on this wax resist, I want to make sure that I'm doing nice, smooth, fluid strokes. You don't want to have brushy lines. If you have a nice straight line with your wax resist, you'll have a nice straight glaze line. If you don't have a straight line with your wax resist, you will not have a straight glaze line. Okay? So notice I try to be very, very careful. So even though this isn't a very sharp line synthetic hairbrush, it's a natural goat hairbrush, I can still get some nice lines with that. So just take your time. Make sure you wash your brush, put the cap back on. This is a pain to wash off the tables. Make sure you do that. While that's drying upside down, walk over to the test tiles. Those are your clay body test tiles. So those are your regular glazes. It says clay body on the side. Notice they have a number on them. That number will be on a sheet of paper that I'll show you in a moment here. I'll tell you the glaze name. Okay. If you look at these smaller squares, those will also have a number, but 0 stands for no glaze. With a number like 5, 3, whatever it might be, that's going to have a glaze, and that'll show you how a certain slip will turn out. So that was black slip, this one is blue slip. And then if you go to the other side of the corner of the wall here, that'll show you the red iron oxide slip as well as the yellow ochre slip. So notice I have sgraffito on there. You could see just like what it would look like if you had part of it with slip, part of it with no slip. And then there's also the underglazes. Those are just sitting on that metal piece, and I'll eventually put them on the wall. Okay, so these are your glaze colors. So like I said, there's the numbers on the tiles and there's the names on the sheet, and the names are on the buckets. Okay. So once you've chosen your colors, try to choose contrasting colors, so maybe a dark color for the inside, lighter for the outside. So notice this glaze is not mixed up when you open it up. The first thing you want to do to make sure that your glaze is ready is mix it up. So grab a whisk, so it might be in that container in the middle of the table. It might also be in the water container because someone else was using it prior. Okay, mix it up. You want to make sure you go around in circles, kind of go back and forth, because all the material from those glazes kind of settle to the bottom and water's just at the top. So you don't want to dip it in just at the top and just basically dip your piece in water, otherwise it won't be very shiny and pretty later. So mix it up. Now it does take a little while, especially if you're the first person mixing it up for the day. Try to get as much of the chunkies taken care of at the bottom. Scrape the sides. Okay. One way to tell is if there's a lot of chunks at the bottom, you got to keep mixing. So once you're all done, first thing you need to do after is check the viscosity or the thickness. So that's just a specific gravity. Best way you can tell is just dipping your finger or your hand in, and it should be nice and even across your finger. It shouldn't be thin in one spot and thick in the other. You should also see a little bit of your fingernail line, but it shouldn't be super transparent. If you don't see it and it's thick everywhere, let me know. Kind of dip it in just for a couple seconds. If it's really thin, hold it in for a few seconds longer. Have fun.